satisfied with whatever is obtained by his own honest labor. He is therefore independent in his livelihood. He does not accept engagement in anyone's service if it might hamper his own service in Krishna consciousness. However, for the service of the Lord, he can participate in any kind of action without being disturbed by the duality of the material world. The duality of the material world is felt in terms of heat and cold, or misery and happiness. A Krishna conscious person is above the duality because he does not hesitate to act in any way for the satisfaction of Krishna. Therefore, he is steady both in success and in failure. He finds are visible when one is fully in transcendental knowledge.
Perfect. Thank you. So, Krishna in this verse is teaching us how to work. How does the verse start? Yadricha labha santushto. Out of his own accord, with gain, he is satisfied. Whatever gain he is get out of his own accord, he is satisfied. Now, what does this mean? If we see in material society today, every person is jealous and in competition. A person is thinking that person is a millionaire, so I'll also become. He works very hard. There are actually economical philosophies made. There's capitalism, communism. Capitalism is saying that we'll work very based on your work. You get paid. This inequality in wealth. In communism, it's saying the state should get wealth. But the essence is that both capitalism and communism, the both of them are trying to be happy. They're trying to get satisfied. But Krishna in this verse is saying that one should be satisfied with what you have got and not try to compete unnecessarily. One will never be happy if you start comparing with each other. If you start looking into somebody else's life and saying, oh, this person has this, I wish I had that, then you will never ever be satisfied and happy. And whatever you get, actually, Krishna says, is due to your past life karma. It's not that everybody is coming on the same equal plane. Depending on your past actions, you've been given certain things in this life. Some could be beneficial, some could be not so favorable. But either way, it is based on your past life. When you try to become, you'll see actually that there are a lot of people, they'll start with like so many stories you'll hear. I started with just this amount of just some $1,000, and today I have multi-million companies, and I'm so rich, and Forbes magazine, they'll have story, you see so many stories like that. At the same time, you'll see people who are working day in day out, working, breaking their backs literally, trying to make multiple endeavors, working overtime, but still aren't able to pay the bills. Why is that? Why is this inequality? This is actually because of past life karma. So we should not think that why is this person got more, why have I got less. This jealousy is actually the root cause of all our destructions. And now, why? You might ask, why is it, why is this jealousy bad? Why should I not look at the other person's life and try to compete with them? What is wrong with that? But we need to understand that this material life is actually based on jealousy. This is not only in humans, this is even going on in animals. A dog, in fact, if you'll see, if a dog, in India, we have a lot of street dogs, or even over here in Australia, you'll see if a dog is in like his unit, his owner has kept him at the backyard. And the second another dog passes by, immediately he'll run to the grills and he'll start barking at him. Why? It's jealousy. This is my area. How can you come over here? They are also trying to compete in their own way. Every species of life, every 8,400,000 species of life are in somewhere or the other jealous of each other and trying to compete. This competition is going on. And how does this begin? Where did this jealousy start? What is the root of all of this? The root is jealousy from Krishna. See, we have to understand the very reason we are in this material world is because we were jealous of Krishna. Krishna is known as the supreme enjoyer. He possesses all opulences. What are opulences? All qualities that people try to achieve in life. What are these six opulences? It is intelligence, somebody who's got a lot of knowledge, or buddhiman. Then there is what? Beauty, good looks. We'll see people are following people with good looks, good intelligence. Then what is the third thing? Fame. People who are very famous. That's why you'll see social media influencers are so popular. We want to be like them. Why? Because of fame. They have a lot of followers. They have a lot of reputation. They have a lot of fame. So that is one third opulence. Fourth is what? This is a very easy one. Wealth. Everybody wants to get rich. We look at Jeff Bezos, we look at Elon Musk, we look at the guy driving in a Porsche next to us, and we think that, oh, I wish I could be him. Why? Because rich or wealth is also an opulence. The fifth one, believe it or not, is renunciation. Renunciation means how one is able to be detached from these things. This is also actually a very big uh, opulence. It's given in the scriptures. This is one of the opulence, renunciation, where one is able to renounce anything, give up something very quickly. That is also one opulence. And the last one is strength. If we look at these, UFC fighters or, these boxers and all that, and what do we look in them? The strength, and people want to idolize them. Priya, can I request you to keep the camera on, please? Or are
Oh,
you? Yeah.
sorry, I didn't know it was off.
No worries, no worries. I was just checking. Yeah, perfect. So all of these opulences are actually possessed in entirety, in complete 100% by Krishna. Conor McGregor, the greatest, one of the good UFC fighter, he has strength, yes, but he has just a percentage of strength, like a very minute percentage of strength. But the source is actually Krishna. Krishna possesses all these opulences in whole. So Van means what? The possessor. So in Hindi, anybody who speaks Hindi, you'll know one who's intelligent. Intelligence is called buddhi. So one who possesses intelligence is called buddhiman. One who has got strength or shakti is called shaktiman. So man means the possessor of particular opulence. Bhagavan or Krishna, Bhagavan means the possessor of all these six opulences. Bhagavan, possessor of all six opulences. And we also need to realize actually that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. There's nobody in this world who's enjoying, because the actual position of enjoying is by Krishna. Actually, I'll not open this. Can somebody read Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, verse 29? Whoever gets it first can read. Priya, I think you're already on unmute, so you can go ahead and read.
29. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifice and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries.
Yep. Ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices, all the austerities, all the hard work that people do is actually the result of that is Krishna, the beneficiary, the person who's supposed to be, whom from for which everything is dedicated, is actually Krishna. Bhokta Ram Yagna Tapasyam. Yagna is sacrifice, Tapasya is austerities. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. Sarva Loka means of all planets. Sarva Loka, Loka is planets. Of all planets and their demigods. I am Maheshwaram. I am the Supreme Lord. Sudaram, I'm the benefactor. Sarva Bhutanam. He is not only the benefactor of all demigods, he is also of all living entities. Huh? Jnanatva mam santyam achiti, which means what? Thus, one who knows this is actually released from all material pangs. So, what do we see from this verse? That actually Krishna is the enjoyer of everything. Our fall down actually begins, all our miseries in life have started because of our willingness to try to compete with Krishna. We want to compete with Krishna. Deep down, if the reason that people are working so hard for power, success, money, strength is actually competition with God, we want to become God. I had mentioned this in a previous class as well. The greatest quality of a demon is that demon always tries to become God. Ravana had so much power, had so much strength. And what did he try to do? He tried to become God. He tried to, dominate the demigods and tried to build a beautiful palace for himself and tried to. He used to think that the world works for him. He used to see anybody and kidnap them, attack them, sacrifice them as he fancied. Why? Because he thought he was the supreme controller. But actually, all the suffering, what happened eventually is he suffered miserably. Why? Because he was trying to compete with God. So our fall down begins when we try to compete with Krishna. because we don't realize that we actually don't belong to this material creation. This is not our true position only. If you go to a shopping mall, you see those little playground things that are made for kids, right? There'll be like it'll be like a netted area, and over there there'll be those ball pool and slides and all of those things for kids. And the parents, when they want to spend some time away from the kids, they want to go shopping or something, but they can't with the kids. They leave them over there. Leave them for some time. They say that you enjoy over here, and in 1 hour's time, when they finish with their work, they come and pick them up. But if the kid starts thinking, this is my actual place, this is where I belong, then he's never going to be truly satisfied. Eventually, the actual position, the actual identity is not even in this material world. So, this entire idea of trying to enjoy this material world is false. So, we need to understand how we came into this material world and why is this thing happening? Why are we suffering over here? In reality, not everybody, and you might think that, okay, Ayush, you're telling me that I should not be jealous of somebody who's maybe having a better life. This person has citizenship while I'm struggling for visa over here. This person has 3 mansions while I can barely pay my rent. This person is driving in a Lamborghini when I'm taking public transport. We might have these questions. So why should I not feel jealous? Why should I not try to compete with such a person? But we don't realize that actually, for example, in a prison house, a prisoner, the reason why he came to a prison house, it's not randomly. It's not like the government said that we need to fill the prison house with some people, so just pick up anybody from the street and put them in prison. No, your actions actually cause you to come in that prison. Similarly, our own actions have caused us to come into this material world, to fall down into this material world. What are these actions? Jealousy, jealousy from Krishna. That is the cause of our downfall in this material world. And we are suffering. And why are we suffering over here? Because we are mad over sense gratification. Absolutely mad, nuts. If you look around yourself, go to your work or your college or just go out and see, you'll see how people are mad over sense gratification. I went for book distribution in city, and I went during like a weekend. And when I go over there, I literally see how people are literally crazy for sense gratification. They'll just, I'll jump from this store to another. How can I buy this shoe? How can I do this? Or they're going to alcohol shop and buying. They're just looking some way or the other. I can gratify my senses. Mad over sense gratification. That is the issue. And this is not only in human species, in other species also there is crazy competition to enjoy. If you see like any of the animal documentaries, you'll see that one is trying to attack the deer. He attacks, then somebody else tries to come and attack him and tries to take away the deer. There's competition in that also. There's continuous competition for sense gratification, not realizing that this is actually our destruction. But you may ask, then how are we different from animals, right? In fact, scientists say that biologically, we are not really different from animals. Biologically, if you take it in a physical aspect, Vincente has a heart. Even a chicken has a heart. I have a liver. Even a elephant has a liver. Everybody biologically they're the same. But what is different then in a living in an animal and a human being? The difference is the state of consciousness, the level of consciousness. Is different in every animal, in everything. We in fact change our lives based on our consciousness. The extreme low levels of consciousness are said to be plants, aquatics, insects. Slightly higher than that are animals. There are birds. Slightly above that, there are land animals. And above all of that is humans. So, this human life is actually very precious. And this human society is actually given. Why do we have things like university? Why do we have things like religion? What is the point of all of this? Because a dog or a cat cannot go, like the cat which Sohail has, it cannot go to university, right? It cannot understand what religion is. But these things are required for human beings because human beings actually can understand what their constitution is. And then they can make a differentiation between human beings and animals. Human society is not meant to live like animals. They say hog like society. Hog like society. This person is like a hog. What does it mean by being like a hog? If you see any animalistic society, the main thing is they are overindulging in sense gratification, like mad, no restriction, like mad, like crazy they'll do. Like for a hog, for example, what is the definition of a hog? It will overeat, it will eat anything. You can throw anything to it, it will eat. It will eat anything till the point of its own stool. Imagine that's how degraded a hog is. And that degradation comes for desire for intense sense gratification. How can I eat more? No restriction. Let me eat. Let me just stuff more things into my thing. A hog, you'll see day and night it will be eating stool. And then when it doesn't have stool, it will be looking around. Oh, where is stool? Where is stool? Where is stool? So that is animalism. That is hog-like life. When human beings are unable to control their tongue, note this down, this is very important. When human beings are unable to control their tongue and their genitals, then they're compared to be equal to animals. Again, I'll repeat. When human beings are unable to control their tongue and their genitals, they are compared to be like animals. How do we know this? Genitals. A hog indulges in sex life, unrestricted sex life. That's the definition of animalistic life. Unrestricted sense enjoyment. Hog will want to enjoy sex life. It will not make distinguish between its own mother and sister also. That's if you see a hog's life, if you go to any village or something, you'll see a hog, a pig's life. What will it do? Day and night, it will first eat a lot of stool so that it gets nice and fat, and then it will indulge like mad in sex life. It will indulge in sex with its own mother, with its own sister, no distinction, like a crazy thing. Why? Because animalistic means unrestricted behavior. Unfortunately, we see that in human beings also today. And that is when human consciousness gets degraded to animal consciousness. So even though you have a human body, you'll see some people, even though they have human body, they'll have animal-like consciousness. Like they will do anything and everything. I was again, like I was saying, I was in the city for book distribution. I saw one homeless guy, some junkie sort of guy, and somebody had like left those stamped on a cigarette, like he smoked the cigarette half and then he stamped on it to extinguish it. This guy was so desiring for sense gratification. He was so out of his mind to get some sort of sense pleasure. He picked up that the cigarette that was stamped on by tens and thousands of people. He picked it up and lit it up and started smoking. So that is in animalistic consciousness, intense desire to enjoy sense gratification. When you are in the spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness, then you realize that there is actually a difference between this bodily construction and actual consciousness. You realize that this is just a temporary body, and then you just keep eat enough to maintain yourself. You'll see anybody, any saint, not only saint, anybody who's had some spiritual advancement, very good spiritual advancement, they will eat enough to satisfy the body. Like Vincente, when you go into the temple today, you'll see in the below rack, there'll be all the gurus. There'll be Prabhupada on the left, then there'll be Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Then next to him, there'll be one person bent down, that is Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. Next to him, there'll be one person, he is Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And even next to him, there is Jagannath Das Babaji. And then on the extreme right, there will be six people, six saints. They are the six Goswamis, Shad Goswamis. They were one of the greatest pioneers of Krishna consciousness. So one of them was Raghunath Das Goswami. Raghunath Goswami, he used to sit in Vrindavan in Radha Kund, and he used to, for in like 4 days, he used to eat once. And that too, he used to eat little bit butter just to maintain his body. That was the level of spiritual consciousness that they had. That they used to eat just enough to survive. Now, I'm not trying to say that we should all do that. He was obviously a very elevated soul, Paramhansa, great spiritual soul. So we cannot imitate that, but we should at least try to follow in the footsteps by realizing that we should not overindulge in sense gratification with no restriction. The very point and objective of human life is to perform austerities, to have some sort of restrictions. That's why rules and regulations are there in human society. They're in animal kingdom. If you go to a jungle, there's no law book, there's no constitution. But in a human society, every country, every civilized society has a constitution. That is the distinguishing factor between humans and sense gratification. Unfortunately, though, in today's time, we think the more facility I have for sense gratification, the more successful I am. We think that, oh, I have like I was seeing one person, "Oh, I have a fancy coffee machine, I have a restaurant just below me, I have this car, I have this toy, I have this." They have so many facilities for sense enjoyment, and they think this is life. This is I'm successful now. Not realizing that these facilities of sense enjoyment are very temporary. You and they're not going to last, you know. You cannot consider them to be real happiness. In fact, in the Shastras, it says that only we can consider it to be real happiness if one makes facilities in such a way that he does not die. If unless and until somebody makes these kind of facilities, these kind of arrangements, it is not considered to be real happiness or success. But we think that by making more indulgence in, you know, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, we are actually very successful. But that's not false. That's not true. Like I saw one guy, he's a single guy, 35-year-old, single guy, a millionaire, whatever, has multiple mansions. And he was talking, he was doing an interview, and he said, in this mansion, there are 50 rooms and these many cars and all that. And the guy asked him, "Oh, how many 50 rooms? What do you do with 50 rooms?" He said, "Nothing. I barely even come to this place. I come once or twice in like 4 years. And these cars, half of them I've never gone out of the garage as well. These clothes, I've never even seen half the clothes I've got." So, even just by thinking that by accumulating more, you're going to get happy, how is that really making you happy? It's just going to go eventually. And the real success of human life is actually developing your consciousness, not developing this bodily sense gratification. That is for the hogs and animals. This human life is to develop your consciousness. That is the only difference between human beings and animals. So there is no need for a person who's advanced spiritually to make unnecessary competition. You know, trying to work very hard to impress your neighbor that, oh, look, I have a bigger house, I have a better car, I have this watch. All of this is not required. You don't need to make unnecessary that, just enough to maintain. You know, a real success and real satisfaction is only received when you work for Krishna. Otherwise, the more you work for yourself, the more empty you'll become. Even though externally you have a lot, you'll always have that emptiness in your heart. We'll see so many people have so many houses and mansions, yet we'll see one day that they commit suicide or they're going through severe depression and anxiety. Why is that? Because just by externally satisfying yourself, it's not going to give you internal satisfaction. Internal satisfaction only comes by satisfaction of Krishna. If Krishna is satisfied with your work, then your life is successful. You should keep this as your mantra. This is your motto. If Krishna is satisfied by your work, then your life is successful, your work is successful. Now, for example, you're eating. We all eat food. We cannot say that I'll give up food. We cannot become Raghunath Das Goswami. But what we can do is we can offer that food to Krishna. For example, you bring a little, a little girl tells her father, bring me this chocolate, dad. Your dad is coming back from a business trip. She tells the dad, please bring me this chocolate. And the dad gets the chocolate. And she's overjoyed. She says, oh, yes, I've got the chocolate. Now, what she does, she breaks the first piece and says, thank you, dad. Here, you take the first piece. You deserve this. Would the father be happy or not? Huh? Vincente, would the father be happy or not? Priya, will the father be happy or
Yes.
not? Daughter gets the chocolate, even though the chocolate is brought by the father. The daughter breaks the first piece and gives to the father. She says, you have. The father will enjoy that piece of chocolate. Next day, he'll buy one more chocolate. Even though the father has no need for that chocolate, the father can go and buy 200 more chocolates like that. But it's the love and the gratitude which really resonates with the father. That is what gives more taste to the chocolate also. It makes the chocolate taste sweeter because it's been given by love and by gratitude. Somebody find this verse, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam, quickly. It should be on the back of the Bhagavad Gita. There's a reference index for Sanskrit to it will connect you to the verse number. So find Patram, Patram, Pushpam, Pshpum, Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. Phalam Toyam. Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam. Yo me bhakta prayachati. Whoever gets it can quickly unmute and let me know.
Nine.
Yeah, anyone found it?
Yeah, 9.26.
Perfect. Very good. Can you read it? Read the translation.
If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it.
Very good. So see, if anybody, Krishna is not asking for much. What is he saying? If somebody offers me a leaf, water, some flowers with love and devotion, I will accept it. Similarly, that is why we offer prasadam in Krishna consciousness in this practice. Why? Because by doing this, you're offering it to Krishna, and you are, Krishna is pleased with you. By satisfaction, that food becomes spiritualized, and then you can eat it with more pleasure. It gives more meaning. It gives you real satisfaction. Even with work, we all work. We have to work. Especially in Australia, you cannot say I won't work and I'll just do bhakti. It's not possible. Even bhakti is itself recommending that you work, but dedicate the result to the work to Krishna. What is the reason why you're working? If somebody asks you, if you sit down one day alone and reflect, why am I actually working? What's the point? Is it just to pay the rent? Is it just to buy some clothes? Is it just to pay for the groceries? What is the actual purpose of my work? And when we find out, we realize that it's some deep down or the other, it's for sense gratification. When we convert that sense gratification to pleasure for Krishna, that I'm doing this work so that I can please Krishna, then that gives us real satisfaction. For example, this new restaurant that is opened up, Ghanshyam Prabhu himself actually worked and sponsored he worked hard to, get that done. Why? Because he knew that this restaurant will actually do benefit. Students from UTS will come over there. They will eat prasadam, spiritualized food. They will listen to Hare Krishna mantra. They will buy Bhagavad Gita because it's lying over there. When they come, it will give benefit. It is more like an outreach. You're giving out Krishna consciousness to people. So it's so beneficial. So even though that money is earned, the purpose is to please Krishna and it's used for Krishna's service. That is what needs to be done with our occupation, with our food, with everything in our life. We can dedicate it to Krishna. Priya, you're in the reading class with Sneha Mataji. You probably reading Nectar of Devotion, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
so what is given over there? That the main thing, that one very important point that was given in Nectar of Devotion is the main objective of devotion is to always remember Krishna, never forget him. Yeah, what are the rules and regulation? The rule is that you remember Krishna. Regulation is you do everything to try not to forget him. So that is what's our purpose. We need to remember Krishna in all our endeavors of life. Sorry. So why do we work? We work for the pleasure of Krishna. We eat for the pleasure of Krishna by offering it to Krishna. And that is what gives us real satisfaction. Lack of Krishna consciousness or God consciousness is the cause of suffering. If we forget Krishna, then there is, miseries, then there is suffering, then there is Maya, then you come into illusion. You have two options actually. You can either be in Krishna consciousness or in Maya consciousness. There's nobody who's in an alternate consciousness. There's either of the two. Just like when there is sunlight, there is either sunlight, and if you don't want sunlight, you'll come in the shade. So either you have the sunlight or the shade. It's either of the two. So similarly, either you're in Krishna consciousness or you're in Maya consciousness. And if you are in Maya consciousness, Devi Esha Gunmai Mama Maya Duratyaya, that this external energy of mind, Maya Shakti, is very difficult to overcome. It is a lot of suffering also in this Maya. And only one who worships me can be able to cross it. So only when you turn your consciousness from animalistic consciousness, from sense gratificatory consciousness to Krishna consciousness, then only can you really be satisfied. That is the thing. Otherwise, you're going to remain in darkness. This darkness is the cause of our suffering. This darkness is the illusion. So we see that once you are in Krishna consciousness, then this jealousy that I was talking about in the beginning, that naturally disappears. A devotee is never jealous of anybody. A devotee, in fact, wants to make other people happy. Why do you think there are devotees who are traveling all over the world? There are so many sannyasis or Maharaj who travel all over the world to preach Bhagavad Gita. Why do you think there are people who are working day and night for the satisfaction of Krishna? Why do you think there are people who are opening up restaurants for the satisfaction of Krishna? Why do you think there are people who are doing Bhagavad Gita classes to for the satisfaction? It's all because devotee wants to see other people happy. He's not jealous of everyone because he knows that this temporary material body is and satisfaction is very mundane. It's a very pathetic, low consciousness. You when you come into Krishna consciousness, it is broad-minded. It thinks about entire society in general. Just like if you're benefiting, if you're in Krishna consciousness, you're doing benefit to the entire society. Just like when you water the root of the plant, the entire plant gets satisfied. Not that I'll simply pour water on one leaf and expect the plant to grow. It will never work like that. So that is how Krishna consciousness works. Now, what is this darkness? When you are not in the sunlight, you're in the shade. What is the shade? What is this darkness? Okay, I don't think you guys will have Bhagavatam, so I'll just open it over here. So, let's see. Shoel, can you read the translation, please?
Um, one who identifies himself as the inert body composed of muscles, bile, and air, who assumes his wife and family are permanently his own, who thinks an earthen image or the land of his birth is worshipful, or who sees a place of pilgrimage as merely the water there, but one who never identifies himself with, feels kinship with, worships, or even visits those who are wise in spiritual truth. Such a person is no better than a cow or an ass.
There was once a prince who was madly in love with a princess. And sorry, he wasn't a prince, my bad. He was a servant, the son of the maid servant of the princess. And he fell in love with the princess. And fell in love so much so that he told his mother, the maid servant, that I want to get married to the princess or else I will end my life. Now the mother got scared. She said that, see, my son, you are just a son of a maid servant. She is from a royal order of life. How can that marriage happen? It's not possible. You can't find some other woman. Don't be obsessed over her. But the son was not going to listen. He was too adamant. He was too stubborn. He said, no, I have to get married to her. And he was very convinced. He said, if I don't get married, I will kill myself. Now the mother got very concerned. She went to the princess one day in her quarters and she said, that my son actually is gone crazy for you. Can you please at least talk to him so that it will give him some satisfaction, or else he's threatening to end his life. Now the princess heard this and she said, okay, you know what, send him. Now this princess was a very beautiful princess. What she did was she took one herbal medicine that that makes you, release a lot of stool and cleanses your body in a way. So when she took that, she was vomiting a lot because all the things from inside your body start coming out. So she started vomiting, she started passing urine, she started passing stool like a crazy person. And what she did was she started collecting all of that in one pot, and this went on for a couple of days. Then finally, the day came when the maid servant's son was to meet the princess. So he entered the quarters, and moment he entered the quarters, he saw this very, wretched-looking woman with her hair completely disheveled. There are deep dark circles under her eye. Her face has gone pale, skinny, thin, weak, almost looking sick. And he said, "Oh my God, yuck! Who are you?" Um, she said, "Oh, I'm the princess that you were supposed to meet." She said, "But you look so ugly. The princess that I was going to meet was the one of the most beautiful women. How are you so ugly?" And then she said, "Oh, actually, the ingredient of my beauty is in that pot over there. Why don't you go and have a look?" So she went and she opened the pot. He opened the pot and he said, "Ah!" He saw all the stool and the vomit kept in that pot. And she said, "That's actually the ingredient to this beauty," which goes makes you realize actually that this temporary body is made out of what? Mucus, bile, air. These are the things that are in this body. This is a bag of stool, actually, this body. But we are so obsessed, we start believing that we are this bag of stool. What is the other thing? One who assumes that his wife and family are permanently his own. They think that, oh, this is my family, this is my life, everything, this is permanent. It's not true. One day everybody has to go. Sometimes wife goes either by divorce or by death. But in both ways, everything has to go. Even the family has to go. Who thinks that this land, this earthen image, or the land of his birth is worshipable? You see so many people, they're proud. I'm American, America, or I'm Australian, mate. They're very proud of their country. They'll keep on identifying, I'm American, I'm Indian, I am German, I am this, I am that. They keep on identifying. Or who says a place of pilgrimage as merely water over there. Recently, there was the Mahakumbh, and it's in a place of pilgrimage called Prayagraj, where the three rivers, Ganges and all meet. And there were a lot of people who were completely ecstatic. They were so happy that they were in such a sacred place. But at the same time, there were some people who were just there for social media trend because they saw everybody was going there, so why not we also go over there? And when they went there, they were making comments like, "Oh, this is just another water. This is just another river. What's the big deal over there?" So when they see places of pilgrimage, it's just water. And but one who never identifies himself with, or feels kinship with, or even visits those who are in spiritual truth. So people who always look down upon saints or spiritual places, dhams, or go to temple, they never identify. They say, I have nothing to do with all these religious people. Such person is no better than a cow or an ass, a donkey. So this is what's given in the Bhagavatam. That when we identify with this body so much, with our false bodily identification so much, thinking of them to be permanent, or thinking that the land we are born in is permanent, we're no good as we are equal to asses, we are equal to donkeys. So that is clearly given in the scriptures. Now, when somebody is freed from this bodily conception, then then he is very satisfied. Once you're no longer thinking that I'm this body, then anything that comes into your life will give you a lot of satisfaction. But if you're not free from this conception of life, then you will constantly be envious. You'll constantly be greedy, lusty, hankering over something or the other. A lot of people say that, oh, what do you mean that I should not be jealous and work hard? How will I feed my stomach? In Hindi, they say, घर में रोटी कैसे आएगी? That how will I feed my family? How will all of this happen? I need to work, right? How will I get my daily bread? But if we think about it, Krishna is actually the source of all everything, right? He provides to everybody. He's the provider of everything. So Krishna is providing even a small ant some food, some grains. You'll see an elephant. Elephant doesn't have refrigerator. Elephant doesn't have Uber Eats. Elephant doesn't have fancy kitchen. Elephant doesn't, elephant spontaneously it gets its food. It's walking. It can be in any place, any climatic condition. It will get its food. Even an ant somehow or the other will find food. So if Krishna is supplying food grains to even an ant, to even an elephant, to every little living being, then why will he not provide to human beings? In earlier times, it was very simple actually. To finding food was not a big deal. There was no scarcity of food. But today we have made it so complicated. Like for example, okay, let's see. Vincente, who is more intelligent, a dog or a human being? Human society or dog society?
Sometimes dogs, but no, humans
Human?
again.
Shoel, what do you think? Humans or dogs?
Humans.
Priya?
Yeah, humans.
Okay, you guys are saying humans, correct? But think about it. If a human wants to eat food, what are the process? What does the path that he has to take? First, after he's born, he needs to go to school, work hard, get education. With that education, if he gets good marks, he'll go into a good university. Then he'll need to get degree. With that degree, then he'll have to work day and night to apply for a resume, make his resume and apply for a job. With that job, he has to work day and night. He has to get certificates. He has to get approval. He has to take metro to the work. He has to take a metro back to work. He has to, get pushed around at work, abused by the manager or the boss sometimes. Go through all of this, pay rent, look after all of that, buy, then walk to the grocery shop, buy groceries, buy all the utensils, do so many things. Why? Just to eat food. It's a whole 10-step process. Human beings have to do so much. What is the process for a dog to get food? Wag tail, fetch ball, eat. Three-step process. The dog has made his life much more easier compared to human. Human father will say, you work like this, you get this degree, you get this certificate, and then you'll get a job, and then you will be able to buy this and buy that. And with that money, what are you buying? Basic groceries. What does a dog's father tell the dog? You simply wag your tail like this, When the guy throws the ball, please go and get that ball back. And if you do these two things, unlimited food you'll get. So we see the difference between human society and dog society. We think that we are very intelligent, but basic things like food grains we are struggling so much for, whereas the dog is getting it so easily. Now what does this mean is we have to realize everything that's coming to our life is given to us by Krishna. So that's why one needs to be satisfied with Krishna's givings. That is what the first line is saying. What is the first line saying? Yadracha labha santushto. Yadracha labha santushto. That labh, which is gain, I am santusht, I am satisfied with that. So some days Krishna might give you very fancy food, exotic food, puri sabzi. Someday he might just give you basic chana. But a devotee never thinks that, oh, this person got that, why didn't I get this? Devotee is satisfied with everything that Krishna gives him. That is the difference. That is what's being trying to say. Not that you compete like a mad person. You are so envious that you're trying to compete with everybody. Not live like animals and just compete with envy and jealousy all the time. No, you're satisfied with what you've got. That is what's being said. In fact, they say that this material life is such that there is so much jealousy in this material life that even a brother is jealous of his, like, supposing if one's brother is successful, earning well, doing that, the hi- his brother will get jealous. His brother will start feeling envious. So that is the condition of material life. So that is the what this purport is trying to say. That don't be envious. Don't be fighting like dogs and cats. Now you might ask, but why is this inequality? Some people are living so luxuriously, some people are not. Why is this person getting more and I'm not getting? In a hospital, you'll see one person is eating very healthy, nutritious food, sumptuous meal. The other person who's diseased, the doctor says that, oh, you cannot eat this, don't eat sweet, or don't eat at all, or just eat soup. So there is a difference. The reason doctor is prescribing different foods to different people is based on the treatment that is suitable to them to get rid of the disease. Similarly, based on our material disease, we are getting things or the other. Some people with a lot of wealth also, they are not affected. Their consciousness doesn't get affected. They don't get greedy. For them, they get things very easily. But for us, sometimes we mind Krishna actually knows everything. Krishna knows who we really are, our thoughts, our intentions. Maybe by getting some material gain, it would actually hamper our spiritual process. So that's why even if we don't get anything, we see that as a blessing from Krishna. Like Kunti Maharani, who was the mother of the Pandavas, at the end of the Mahabharata, when so many of her, so much trouble she had to go through, she was exiled from a kingdom, they were mistreated, misbehaved, her sons had to fight, she lost so many people. After going through all of this, also, she prays to Krishna, she thanks Krishna that thank you, Krishna, for putting so many difficulties in my life. If I didn't have these many difficulties, I would have never been able to be attached to you. I would have been too comfortable in this material life. All the sufferings in this material life is a reminder from Krishna that this is not the permanent place. This is a place of suffering. This is not your true place. And actually, if we see any suffering or any distress also in this our daily material life, is actually a blessing from Krishna, especially for a devotee. Krishna is providing food grains to every animal, every ant, every elephant in the world, dog, elephant, everybody's getting food. So why do you think that Krishna will not give food to somebody who's dedicating their lives to Krishna for the satisfaction of Krishna? Does that make sense at all? That Krishna will give food to an elephant and a dog, but a person who's working day and night for Krishna will not get food. That is nonsense. We need to see that everything in our life is actually a blessing from Krishna. Only then one can be truly satisfied. And that is your true success as well. When you are able to evolve your consciousness from bodily consciousness to spiritual consciousness, then there is no jealousy. Then you're actually trying to benefit people. For example, Prahlad Maharaj, like when the Narsinga Aarti happens, we say Jai O Prahlad Maharaj, Jai O Prahlad Maharaj. Why do we say that? Why are we saying Jai Prahlad, victory to Prahlad Maharaj? Because Prahlad Maharaj was actually the greatest devotee. His father, Hiranyakashipu, he was putting him through so much torture, throwing him in a pit of snakes, trying to burn him, trying to beat him. But in spite of going through so much difficulties by his own father, he was never envious of Hiranyakashipu. He was never jealous. And in fact, he was actually looking for the benefit for a person who's doing so many bad things to him. He was actually looking that how can I benefit this person. So when Narsingha Dev actually killed Hiranyakashipu, Prahlad Maharaj prayed to Narsingha Dev that, my dear Lord, please give my father liberation. He didn't ask anything for himself. He said, give my father liberation. So that is the quality of a devotee. He's not jealous. He's satisfied. He is yadracha labha santushto. He's santusht with whatever he's got because he sees everything as a blessing for Krishna, and he's trying to actually give other people more. That is the main difference. Now we have to realize that the law of karma is very accurate. Every small thing that you do is recorded. There's nothing which escapes in this law of karma. If you did something in the past life, somewhere or the other, that karma is going to come back to you, whether good or bad. So this karma is actually very, very tight, very, very stringent. And if you live in Krishna consciousness, that you're not bound by karma. There is karma in eating also. Did you know that? One person used to tell Prabhupada that why you promoting vegetarian? When you're eating plants, you're also killing plants. So Prabhupada said, I'm not promoting vegetarian. We are not vegetarian, we're Krishnatarian. What does that mean? That there is sin in eating everything, even plants, there is sin in eating. But when you offer it to Krishna, then Krishna takes away the sin. That's the reason why we have prasadam. It's not just to eat good food. It's because Krishna has taken away the sin. You're having karma free food. Similarly, Krishna takes away karma from all your actions also. If you're doing some action for Krishna, then you're not bound by the karma. Otherwise, good or bad, whatever actions you're doing in this material world, you're bounded by karma. You some way or the other, karma is tying you. And what does bounded by karma mean? Karma will cause you to take another birth. It's going to push you into the cycle of birth and death. Even good karma will take you. A lot of people think I'll do good things, go to heaven. But we don't realize heaven also is temporary. When your credit points for good karma gets over, then you'll again fall down to this material world. And again, you'll be going through the cycle of birth and death. And you need to ask yourself, how many times do I really want to get another birth? How many times do I need to again get a body? Just in this life, like for when you're born, it's like being tied upside down in your mother's womb. For 9 months, you're like that in a closed, encapsulated space. Then you wake up, then you come out, then you're born. Then again, you have to go through childhood, nursery, learn Baba Black Sheep. Go to school, do mathematical assignments. Then go to college, do this assignment, that assignment work. You're just repeating that cycle. You think that just in this life I did my assignments and I'm good. No, but if you're taking another birth again, that entire process starts. And that is just if you have taken a human body. If you're not, if you've taken an animal body, then even worse, you don't even know what's going to happen to you. So that frustration needs to come, that how long am I going to falsely try to enjoy in this material life? There is no enjoyment, there's just suffering. But when you take up Krishna consciousness, when you put Krishna as the center, then these actions don't bind you anymore. Then whatever you do is actually liberating you, and then you are no longer in this process of changing bodies. This body is temporary and full of miseries. Can anybody open Bhagavad Gita chapter 13 verse 9, and I'll conclude with this. Chapter 13 verse 9.
13.9.
Yeah.
We have 13.6 to 7 and 8 to 12.
Oh, once again, I think it will be in like a continuation. What's the page number?
537.
537. Yeah, it's just read the translation of the whole thing. Just read the bold part.
Mm,
Humility, pride. Yeah.
Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness, self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age, and disease, detachment, freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, and the rest, uh, e- even-mindedness, aimed pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, aspiring to live in a solitary place, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self realization, and philosophical research for the absolute truth. All these I declare to be knowledge, and beside this, whatever there may be is ignorance.
Yep. Very, very important verse. I think I'll actually might do a class on this one. This is a big verse and it covers a lot. Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, all of these are considered to be knowledge. Say, renunciation from sense gratification, absence of false ego, approaching spiritual master, all of these qualities are knowledge. Everything else is ignorance. Krishna is directly saying everything else is ignorance. So we need to understand that this body is temporary. Most of these qualities only come when you stop identifying with the body. When you stop identifying with this body, naturally you will not be proud anymore. Naturally, you will not have ignorance. All these qualities will come down once you don't identify with the body anymore. So your real success in life and is to grow in Krishna consciousness, is to make arrangements so that you don't die. Arrangements so that you don't die. You have eternal life. Otherwise, if you're continuously working for this temporary body, then you're going to be full of miseries. Everything else is in ignorance, Krishna is saying. This human life is for tapasya. What is tapasya? Austerities. It's not like a hog, like a pig. I'll just eat whatever I see. No. You're supposed to restrict. You're supposed to follow some rules and regulations. You're supposed to add in some good habits, like chanting 16 rounds, reading some Bhagavad Gita, or even it could even be material things, like running, going to the gym. I mean, these are not spiritual activities. These are nothing to do with Krishna consciousness. But even those things you'll see, if a person is going to the gym and running and all that, they'll feel that sense of happiness. Why? Because austerities is the actual purpose of human life, not crazy sense indulgement. So when we do that, then we will not have this thing that simply by competition I will be successful. Let me ask you a question. Do you think if you try very hard to be happy, will that actually make you happy? Ask yourself this question. If I try to, make my situation very hard, like I try very hard to make my present situation better, thinking that this will give me happiness, does that really give happiness? How many people they want to earn more, they want to buy bigger car? After getting all of that, you need to ask yourself, is that really making them happy? So many Bollywood, so many actors, you might look outside and you say, wow, what a luxurious life they live. But then if you think, are they really happy? Multiple divorces, no connection with friends and family, no, they don't even know who their sons are. So many problems. Is that real happiness? Why do you think they're all under drugs and alcohol addiction? Because there's no real happiness. These futile attempts of becoming happy is not actually giving you real happiness. These constant competition with others. I will try to be better than him. I will try. He's millionaire. I will be billionaire. This constant looking at other people's life and thinking, oh, I want to do this. I will try to compete with him. I'm jealous. This jealousy. These things are never actually going to make you happy. So one who's free from duality, from happiness and distress, one who does not envy, one who's steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. So this is what he is saying. That why is he steady in both success and failure? Because a Krishna conscious person, God conscious person, knows that everything is actually a blessing from Krishna. Even my distress is a blessing from Krishna. Why is he never entangled? Because when you are doing service for Krishna, for the satisfaction of Krishna, then you're not bound by karma, unlike other activities. You're free from duality. Matra sparsastu kaunteya sitostan sukha dukkhada agama paino anityas. Tam stitiksva bharata. Find this verse. And whoever finds this, we can end the class then. The verse is Matra sparsastu kaunteya. Matra sparsha tu kaunteya. मात्र स्पर्शस्तु कौन्तेय MATRA dash SPRARSAS Tu Tiu Konteya.
Two,
Kaauel.
2.14.
Yes, can you read the translation, Priya?
O son of Kunti, the non-permanent appearance of happiness and distress, and their disappearance in due course, are like the appearance and disappearance of winter and summer seasons. They arise from sense perception, O son of Bharata, and one must learn to tolerate them without being disturbed.
So I want you guys to make this your motto, that all the happiness and distress in my life is actually a blessing from Krishna. When you see that, when you realize that Krishna is the source of everything, not this temporary body, then you will be undisturbed by this. The happiness and distress in your life is like changing of winter and summer season. Every year there's going to be a winter season, there's going to be a summer season. There's going to be hot days, there are going to be bad days like this when it's raining. But in every day, a person who's in devotion to Krishna is always steady. A person who is in Krishna consciousness, God consciousness is always steady. And then he is free from this bondage. He's never entangled. Where's that verse? Never entangled. He is never affected. Nibandh yate. Bandha means to tie, to entangle. Nibandha means to be free from that entanglement. So one who is not nibandh, one who's now free from duality, does not be jealous of other people, who's steady in both success and failure, then he becomes nibandh yate. He is untangled. Okay, so please take in these points. Try to use this in your life. In any time of your life, if any distress comes, you need to understand it's actually a blessing from Krishna. Maybe by actually getting that thing, it would have actually affected you. You affected your consciousness, rotted you down more to material consciousness. When Krishna actually, they say, when he gives you special mercy, he will take away everything material from you. And when everything material is taken away, then you have no option but to look to Krishna. And then ultimate spiritual growth happens. There are, like that Raghunath Das Goswami has said, he was from a very rich family. He had lakhs of rupees, lakhs of gold coins in those times, like 500 years ago. Lakhs of gold coins in today also so valuable. So imagine back in 500 years ago how valuable they were. He came from that family, but he used to beg. He used to live very like in the minute possible way. He had butter in like 2 days or something. Why? Because when you get that spiritual taste, then naturally you lose taste for material things. Then you're not affected by material things. You don't care about the latest car or the latest PlayStation or whatever nonsense. These are all temporary. You start looking for the permanent. And when you get that permanent happiness, you never even turn behind. And then you're not affected by these temporary happiness and distress of this life. So keep these points with you. Always keep this in mind, that once you're in this path of spiritual life, there is no real distress. There's no actual unhappiness. You will be satisfied with everything that you got. Yad racha labha santushto. You'll always be santushto. You'll always be satisfied when you're having these qualities. Freedom from duality, uh, free from envy, steady in both success and failure. Then you are nibhadyate. You are unbound by this law of karma. So that being said, I will end the class here.